How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today on the pod, we're going to be doing round 2 interview with Klodian Mitri. I had him on just 11 days ago at the time of this recording, or maybe a little bit before that. That's when I recorded the episode. And during that episode, we ran out of time where I wanted to really dive into this topic, which we primarily talk about for this episode, and that is religion. Klodian is a member of the Latter-day Saints Church. He is Mormon, and he is a great guy. Obviously, you know that already from listening to the prior episode, but this one we dive deep into questions such as, what do you have doubts about? What questions do you have? How do you feel or deal with those questions? How do you feel God or hear him? Have you ever lost a friend because of religion? This, that, and the other. A lot of cool things, a lot of cool answers and stories from Klodian. So I hope you enjoy this episode with him. And really quick, before we get started, just want to say thanks for being here, and make sure to check out the show note descriptions for ways that you can support the podcast and also sign up for the newsletter. And if you are listening on any platform that you can like, comment, subscribe, review, or any of that stuff, it really helps to continue to grow the podcast. So please do that. I'll quit pointing at you with this Sharpie marker. Yeah, most of you who listen don't actually subscribe, so I would appreciate it if you could subscribe. So, yep, that's it. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy this episode with Klodian Mitri. Haircut.
I think I cut like 3 of them, but a couple. There's the dad jokes.
Yeah. How often does a man of your caliber and stature get a haircut? I'm curious, because I mine if you tell me yours.
I think every month and a half, I would say, but it's usually when my wife tells me I need a haircut.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
with her being a professional hairstylist, like a luxury hairstylist, I always find I usually just wait till she tells me. And I'm blessed with the fact that she can just do it in our kitchen versus I think like she charges like $85 for a men's cut, which blows my mind. And people tip her. I'm like, who the hell is tipping you on an $85 haircut? We're good.
Yeah, how much are they tipping? 10%? That's a lot.
Dude, she's very good at what she does. Men's and women's. Her specialty is mostly women's. But the fact that she has to deal with me never putting hair product in my hair, because I'm showering 3 times a day. Chlorine's impacting my hair. She's like, can you just do me a favor and put some product in your hair? I'm like, I got 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I could talk so long about hair just because I'm pretty particular about mine. I'm actually way overdue. My hair grows super fast. I usually go every, honestly, 4 weeks. If it gets longer than that, then like I get neck hair that just like, it's like it turns into this carpet that extends down the back of my legs. It's crazy. So that's gross. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Is there a delay on your end? You heard me say? I was talking about hair.
We were just talking about haircuts, about how the fact that I don't value hair. You mentioned you have a carpet going from your neck all the way down your back.
Yes.
And I have the chest of a 10-year-old girl. So I think between the two of us, we could probably make 2 normal humans, two normal men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so funny, dude. I feel like I'm going through like almost like a second puberty because I'm like 33, gonna be 33 next month. And like I'm starting to get like much darker chest hair, and it's starting to become thicker and it's encroaching. It started kind of around the nipples, and it's kind of weird, but I didn't know this was gonna be a thing. But hey, I guess I'm still becoming a man.
I'm at that stage where like people are starting to talk about like, oh, I got a hair transplant. They moved it from my neck to my head. I'm like, how much hair do you have on your neck, dude? Like, blows my mind. Because like, if I had to do that, I'm like, where the heck would they get hair from? Because I have like 5 chest hair. I'm like, we're gonna keep them there. It took me 30 some years to grow chest hair. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, enough about body hair, chest hair. I guess thanks so much for coming on again, such short notice. It's been 11 days since we last recorded, and it's actually funny because I got a few messages of people being like, "Hey, thanks so much for having Klodian on. That was cool." I would have expected you to ask him some deeper questions around like religion, spirituality. I was like, "Oh, no worries. Like it's coming. It's definitely coming." So I look forward to diving into that with you. But first question I want to ask you, getting back into it, is how you been in the past 10 days? What's happened? Anything new?
Everything. I like my life is like nonstop, especially like it being a Monday, talking to people. They're like, "Oh, how's your weekend?" I'm like, I didn't have a single free second, but I can't tell you what we did. It's just I have that guilt complex with everything that I do that I'm like, as soon as I'm done with work on Friday, it's like, all right, how do I entertain the kids every single second? How do I do fun stuff with my wife? Is just I always want to be doing something. I hate wasting time. It's my biggest pet
Mm,
peeve. It's why I hate traffic. Just the idea of like sitting in a car not doing something just drives me nuts. But yeah, so it's been a very busy 11 days. Just I mean, life is always busy with chaos that comes with work, 3 kids, an awesome wife that just keep me on my toes.
yeah. Let me ask you this question, just because I find it interesting the way you shared it. Because I just interviewed a guy who's one of my closest friends slash mentors over the past like 10 years. His name's Jared. He's actually very similar age as you, I think. How old are you again? You're
34,
35?
34.
34.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older than you, but very similar. And then like when I got to know him, he shared with me one of his, he didn't say pet peeves, but one of his greatest fears was that he wasn't using his time wisely. And he's like a guy like you, I would say very entrepreneurial, very driven, always doing stuff. And since he's gotten a little bit older, I think he started to calm down a little bit and be able to kind of sit in silence a little bit more. But for you, like, where does that come from where you feel like you have to kind of always keep moving forward? What is it? Do you have like a fear of something that you're going to miss something, or you're going to miss out on giving an opportunity, or what is it that you think?
No, here, the thing is, like, I can sit in peace, no problems. I think that's why I find sports so therapeutic, because oftentimes I'm doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm alone with my own thoughts. I can go to dinner by myself. I can, like, it's comforting the fact that like, I like my own company, and
Yeah.
I would love to introduce myself to other people as well. But the thing is, like, I just don't like wasted time just because I feel like I have found everything later in life. So I want to like not play catch up because I think a lot of things in life, there's no shortcuts really. But it's just like, oh man, if I can enjoy an hour with my kids and do something that entire hour, like versus what other dads like in a 3-hour span, they accomplish the same amount of fun or fulfillment with their kids. And I can do that in an hour. It's that compounding effect. That's how I try to like approach things. I'm like, okay, whatever I do, I'm going to do like that really well and just enjoy that really well. And that's if
Mm,
I can do that in 1 hour, then the next hour I can do that with whatever else I'm doing. So it's just like, just keep my attention focused and kind of being intentional with my time. It's just the fact of, like, wasted time, like, oh, I could have literally been doing anything, whether it's, like, to recover better, to become more fit, to become smarter, to e enjoy my relationship with this person more. It's just getting the most out of the moment, if that makes sense. I found
yeah.
sport late, so it's always like, how can I do more? Um
Mm,
I wasted my time dating girls that that weren't my wife. I'm like, I'm gonna love the crap out of my wife every single second I can. I just like all these things that I found late. I'm like, I want to make up for that lost time. And I don't know. I'm just like, I love doing everything intentionally and full,
yeah.
except traffic. I hate traffic.
Who doesn't hate traffic? I totally hear you there. With like the waste of time thing, what is for you? Do you have any like, I don't know if guilty pleasure is the right word, but I'll just be open. Like for me, something I think that is a waste of time that I have done in the past, and it's like I go through a yearly cycle where I'll jump back into it, but it's like video games. Like I used to be huge into it in high school, and then totally left it behind. And it seems like once a year, like I'll get into a kick for a month, and it's usually around fall time where I'm like, I don't know, nostalgic feeling. I'm gonna go play some video games or something. But like that's my thing that I constantly kind of have to battle, or not constantly, but yearly or so. For you, what is? Do you have like a guilty pleasure thing that you consider a waste of time that, but you do as at times?
Uh, you know what? I'm so happy I never got into video games. I mean, I played video games. I had Xbox, I had PlayStation, did all that. But I'm like, all right, this is fun. I think my guilty pleasure is like movies. I really
Mm,
enjoy movies. I go to movies by myself. Sometimes in the middle of the
same.
day on a Monday. I feel like that's so weird. I'm like, I just really enjoy cinema. But then again, it's like sometimes like if I just sat there, I'm like, oh man, what else could I be doing? So like sometimes I'll work from the movie theater. So I always got to be like selective. Like I can't do that Friday 7 p.m. Primetime show. But I'm like, I'll go on a Tuesday matinee during the day, work from the movie theater, bring my laptop last row, turn the dimmer down. So it's like
That is
again,
for
it's like
sure.
that whole wasting time thing, right? It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
get to watch movies and also work from the movie theater. Um,
Yeah.
Back in the day, they had like a movie pass where it's like for $100 for the year, you can go watch unlimited
Yeah.
movies
They lost lots of money on that.
because of me. I was literally like, I mean, at one point, like to give my wife a break, we just had our first daughter. I would take like our newborn to the movie with me, and like, cause the noises, the flashes, it didn't bother her. She was like 2 weeks old. I'm like, I get to watch 3 movies in a row. My wife gets to rest, and I get to
Yeah.
hold my baby daughter. I'm like, this is the dream. But I always like had
Yeah.
I when I was younger, I thought I was gonna be like a movie critic, or that was like I was editor in chief of my middle school newspaper. And like usually with a title like that, like you can write whatever you want. I'm like, I want to do movie reviews. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that. So even having that title, I was like, oh, the school gets to pay for me to go to movies and write about them. All right. But to
Yeah.
this
That's
day,
sick.
I think that's why I still like training indoors. So I mean, I can just like Netflix and chill on the trainer for
Absolutely.
hours. Living the dream.
Yeah. What is your favorite movie then? I'm sure you don't have just one, but
Mm. Well, they're two very different ones.
okay.
My favorite movie of all time is Blow with Johnny Depp. I think it's just
Okay.
absolutely spectacular. Big fan of
Never heard
it.
of it.
Yeah. And then Silence of the Lambs is another one, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I was also a big fan of the book. So I think the movie was also awesome. And then The Notebook. But I think that it has more so to do with my infatuation with Ryan Gosling than the cinematic masterpiece that it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen any of those movies. Well, I've seen The Notebook. I should rephrase, but the Silence of the Lambs or Blow with Johnny Depp. I haven't even heard of Blow with Johnny Depp, so I'll have to check that out. That'd be
It's a
interesting.
classic. It's like I almost like I don't have any tattoos, but I really wanted a tattoo. It's like there's a line that he says to his daughter. It's like, "You're my heart, kid. How can I live without my heart?" I'm like, that I resonate with that. Like, it's like my kids are an extension of me on the world. If something were to ever happen to them, like, how could I live without my heart?
Hmm.
You should
Hmm.
watch it. It's
That's
good.
beautiful. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Oh, the movie's about
But so,
cocaine. It's not about like father-daughter relations. It's about cocaine. That's why it's called Blow.
okay.
Just to get that out there. I don't want you going in and like, oh, this movie's about a
Oh, I'm
strong
ready for this
father-daughter
deep and powerful
relationship.
movie.
Man, this is
Yeah.
about cocaine.
Yeah. Well, what is the premise of the movie that makes it so interesting? I mean, obviously it's not just cocaine, but there's some father daughter relationship. What's the premise or the thing that like really grabs at you? That is it the father daughter relationship that gets you in, or what is it?
I think it's also just like Johnny Depp's character, like the hustle mentality. He's like, oh, I don't come from anything, no matter what. I'm gonna make something of this, and kind of like how you ride the highs of the high and the lows of the low, and uh, yeah, it's a roller coaster movie. And it's based on a true story, which is really awesome. Um,
Those are my
yeah, it's just
favorite.
yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Cool. So we've touched on family. Obviously, you being a father again, I don't expect anything less because I know you really love your kids and your family. But rewind the clock for me a bit because I want to ask you about your religious background prior to marriage, like what that was like, if there was such a thing. And then, now you're married, you have kids, your wife, and the life after. And like, you are part of the Church of Latter-day Saints. You're Mormon, so I want to
Yep,
hear that story, and then if you don't mind, I'll just interject questions as they come.
interject away. So people oftentimes, when they see how hot my wife is and they found out, oh, she's this perfect Mormon woman, and they're like, oh, you definitely chose Mormonism to marry her. I'm like, no, no, no. I actually converted my own free will when I was 14, way before I met my wife. Religion has always been a curious part of me. I was always, when we came to America, we just happened to live down the street from a Presbyterian church. And we only, well, not only, we started going to the Presbyterian church for, community, but also for help. And they were so willing because, I mean, we came with nothing. They donated a bunch of clothes, house stuff to us. There was this woman, we ended up calling her Grandma Betty because she was like a grandma to us. Like I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
it was me, 7, 8 years old, watching my sister, but she watched my sister and I for free while my parents were working 20-hour days. So when I wasn't watching us, we had Grandma Betty watching us. And the at that time, we were going to the Presbyterian church down the street. I think the foundation of any religion is like how to be a good person, but at the same time, it's like that community, the relationships that you build are a big part of any religion. And I was asking a lot of questions to Grandma Betty about just religion in general. She was like, "Man, you're asking a lot of questions so young." She was like, "How about we just go to all these different churches and check them out?" And so she took me to Buddhist temples, Catholic churches, just everything, just kind of like experience it and just see what I was feeling in all these different places, which was awesome. Cause like who else would do that from a different religion? Like a Presbyterian person be like, hey, you're asking a lot of questions. Let's go check these other religions out. Just kind of see like what fulfills you. Looking back on it, I'm like, that's unreal. No one would do that. They would be like, oh, we're going to answer more questions from this Presbyterian lens or whatever lens. So I didn't really connect with one religion, but it was still like created a lot more curiosity in me. And I was living in the suburbs of Chicago, and just missionaries knocked on my door, and I went through about 4 years of Mormon missionaries coming over, just because I mean I was like at the time that I got baptized, I was 14. Joining a religion by yourself is a huge commitment. So I was like, I was never really fully sure, just because I'm like, what if I'm making a bad decision? What if? Because I took religion seriously, but I went through
Mm-hmm.
4 years, like missionaries coming over, teaching me about the church. They would help me with my homework. They would
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like toss a football around with me. So it was like cool. I became friends with these people. And like looking back on it, these missionaries were like 18 years old. But to me, they seemed like these like wise old individuals. They knew so much. And looking back on it, I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Little kids. Yeah.
um, yeah, but I mean, they weren't trying to shove anything down my throat, which I really respected, and it was just something that I kind of, and even to this day, I don't. There's still a lot of questions that I have, but the thing is, like, what made the most sense to me about the church is there's like a continuation of something beyond the Bible. To me, it was like just having the Bible. I'm like, why can't there be modern day prophets? Why did God suddenly decide to stop talking to the prophets? Like, there's got to be something more out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that um, Mormonism is the end all be all, but it's just the fact that I'm like, I do believe that there's modern day prophets. There are people that have it better, that are, Heavenly Father speaking through them as like a mouthpiece to the general population. Cause I know sometimes like I don't hear, or I get so wrapped up in my own life that it just, yeah. So it just made the most sense to me. So it's why I decided to, I'm like, well, I can't not do something. Religion is important to me, but I need to move in some sort of direction. And honestly, joining the church was the best decision I made. And it wasn't like I'm definitely not the perfect Mormon now or then. When I went to college, I had the option to go to BYU, get a really good scholarship, and they were like the number 2 accounting program in the world. Really, really good school. But I decided to not go to BYU just because I was like worried about that Mormon bubble. I was like, I'm just a convert. I'm not the perfect Mormon. I'm gonna get kicked out by accidentally doing something or just be judged, you know, and like I said, growing up in high school and everything, like I was very big on trying to make friends. I'm like, if I'm not the perfect Mormon, I'm not gonna make a lot of friends. People are gonna judge me. And so I ended up going to Marquette. It wasn't the number two accounting program in the world. And like I said, it was Playboy's number one Catholic party school, which I pride myself in. And I definitely enjoyed college a lot. Became inactive in church. Wasn't really going to church on Sundays, but ended up enjoyed college too much. Ended up getting bacterial meningitis. To this day, no one still knows how I got it my junior year. And it was kind
Wow.
of I mean, I was in a coma, almost died, but that was like a good wake up call for me. I'm like, man, I want to like. There's got to be like, what kind of person do I want to become? And one of the guys that I
Mm,
really wanted to emulate my life around was this guy Ryan Miller, who was like in the church, but he was like a good mentor to me in life. I always kept in touch with him, and he never really like was like, "Hey, why are you at parties this weekend? Why are you at church?" He was just like would talk to me as a friend. He was a great dad, great business mindset, just had a lot of accomplishment. Like that's the type of guy I want to become. That's the type of life I want to have.
mm,
I'm like, but I'm not gonna do that by being this type of person. It's like I need to take steps forward in that direction. And like I had the mentality that I'm like, if I at least like go in that direction, God will take care of me. But it's like little things like that. And
mm,
then literally 2 weeks later, I reconnected with now my wife. I feel like it's all these like serendipitous little things. Like if there wasn't a higher power, whatever religion you be, my life is like too many
mm.
coincidences that
Yeah.
I can't not have faith in something.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's just like, and since then, it's like I'm still striving to try to build a better relationship with God, whatever religion that may be, whatever. I just know that like every Sunday, I just look at my feet in the pew at church. I'm like, whether this is the right church or not, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I care more so about my one-on-one relationship with the Heavenly Father, um, and just trying to work towards that.
Mm. First of all, thank you so much for sharing with such detail. I was able to kind of scribble down a few notes to ask some questions, follow up. But one thing I will comment on, just in what you were saying, it is interesting to me as well. What you're talking about, the serendipitous through line connection points of just how things line up in our lives that happen. That really, whenever I in the past have tried to deeply explain the whole picture, it's like almost impossible because it's this web of interconnected points that really make sense in my own mind. And um, not to say that like there aren't very specific moments. Like for example, when I was in college, I felt called to go be a student missionary for a year, and I was already paying my own way through school and wasn't doing a very good job of it. Was taking out loans and whatnot, but somebody ended up paying for my entire anonymously paying for my school bill for the past year and for all of the fees and stuff that I need to take care of and money raised to go be a student missionary. And I found a job within walking distance of where I was to be able to stay that summer for a free to make a little extra cash when I didn't have a car. Even like I had to just jump a cattle fence and go over to this construction project. So there's like a lot of these things that in my life that I've also seen. But it's really interesting, the through lines, which by the way, when I was a student missionary in the Philippines, some of the closer friends that we made there were the LDS missionaries. They were work in the town that we were in northern Luzon. So, and such cool, awesome people. That was my first real interaction with like LDS anyone. And
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, huh, well, we could learn a thing or 10 from how these people conduct themselves. Like learning the language, that I was like, wow, yeah, we didn't do that. I was like, can you speak English to me? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely pretty impressive. But so to ask you this question, you mentioned a few times that you still have questions. You're on your journey. What questions do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
Ah, that's a good point. A lot of, especially everything that's like going on in the world now. I always like some of the questions that I have. I'm like, why me? Why did I get to leave this poor, undeveloped country to have this life that I
Mm,
do? And then you see so many kids, families that are being like torn apart and, dying there. And I'm like, this is heartbreaking. Like how can God do stuff like that? Or have a world where kids are just dying for no reason? And then I think I'm like, well, the way I have good conversations with my sister. Like she's my best friend. She's a doctor. She's like, I just don't understand how like these kids can be dying in this world and there's nothing to do. I'm like, well, I think there is something to do. Like, I think God made people like you who have a heart and empathy to want to help those other people. We're not going to have a perfect world, but it's the people that care enough to want to try to do whatever they can to make an impact for those. I'm like, that's how I kind of see. I'm like, the fact that God is still putting those types of people out there to try to fix and care for those people they can't. I think that stuff like that helps my testimony around like
mm,
there's something out there, right? Um, we're not gonna if we had answers for everything, then I feel like religion is bullshit.
yeah.
But the fact that there
Mm,
isn't answers, I'm like, we're just got to figure out, and that's that faith element, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of peace that is found in the acceptance that as a human we can't understand everything, and that's not to say that we should be negligent in the face of questioning, to just dismiss blatant things. Like I think a lot of Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, there was a lot of stuff that was going on with the Catholic Church during that time, and he was like, he really questions like, hey, well, I think it's more about having my one-on-one relationship with God, kind of what you're talking about, rather than someone kind of stepping in that place to have that relationship for us. Um, and yeah, that whole line of thinking I think is a positive one, but there's definitely a balance of like pursuing that one-on-one relationship and figuring out what that means. And also with what you're saying, stuff that happens bad in the world, I've heard that often used as like, oh, why aren't you religious, or why don't you believe in God? Well, if there is loving God, why would he allow these things to happen? Well, it's like, for me, if what I understand it to be, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this and how you may share or not share the similarities. But my understanding is like the whole great controversy between Satan and Jesus or the Father, like the Holy Trinity, God, good, whatever you want to say it, dark versus evil, is that Satan really called into question the character of Christ. And therefore, like this whole sin thing has to play out in its full measure so that the character of Christ can be vindicated by seeing that when sin played out full through and through leads forth to death. And that's laid out in the book of James. That's laid out in a lot of the stories and parables. But is that a similar line of thinking that you have in the Mormon Church?
Yeah, and also like my own like belief with that is like you got to have as much good as there is in the world with as much bad as there in the world, because I think that's when you really bring out the best in people to try to want to
Mm-hmm.
have that type of impact in the world. Like you can't
Yeah.
like how they say with like trees, right? If you put a tree in the most stable environment and glass it in a um with over a covering and then you expose it to the elements, it'll flop right over. It's just the fact of like wind is what that resilience is what makes a tree so strong and
Mm,
adapt. And that's how I kind of like I feel like humanity, right? We sometimes just really are being tested to kind of see like how much good is in us to help prevail and make a difference, whether we can or not. Because some things are like way beyond our control, and it's like you feel so helpless. But it's like I'm gonna do what I can to try to be that good person, whatever light I can share, big or
mm,
small, and just hope that that has some sort of compounding effect, I guess.
yeah. No, 100%. So two things. First, I like the what you were saying, like the amount of good in us, because I like to think of it. Someone said this to me years and years ago when kind of explaining, the good versus evil concept. It's like if you have two rooms, one has a light bulb in it, one does not. You turn the light bulb, and there's a door, and you close the door between the two rooms. The light will always penetrate into the darkness, and the darkness can never truly penetrate
Yep.
into the light. And that's always such like a good, it's always given me such comfort and hope, because no matter what, like everything can be exposed. No amount of darkness can ever shut out the light. The light, even like the smallest little match in the mass void of eternity, like that light will go on forever, which is like a really crazy thing. Um,
Sure.
so for you, the inner turmoil, because we've talked about the good side and the bad side and us, wanting to drown out the good or drown out the bad with more good. For you, for me at least, growing up as I've gotten older, things have become less black and white, and there's often this gray area. And to get a defining line, often internally, morally, for making decisions about certain things, I try to study, talk to people, pray, read the Bible to come to a conclusion on where the line is, at least for me in that moment. And it may change in the future. But for you, what do you do to clear up the gray areas, or like, are there any steps that you take or things that you do to try to seek what to do in a particular area because you're maybe unsure about what the gray area is?
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of like, I will talk to anyone about life, energy, spiritual stuff, whatever. It's just like I just want to kind of learn about your life experiences and just kind of like just absorb what I can from you to help develop my relationship with like Jesus, God. And like I said, just knowing that I'm in church, whether I'm getting the most out of it or I'm just trying to make sure that my kids don't fight, I'm like, I'm in the right place where I can at least absorb something versus if I was just sitting on my couch, not doing anything, watching Netflix and just relaxing. I'm like, that's not, I'm like, I want to put myself in the environment where I can at least be open to something.
Mm.
Um, in terms of, I still pray a lot. I still kind of look for those serendipitous moments that really test my faith. But a lot of the stuff, like, I mean, I still have things that bother me about the church, like coffee being back a big thing. Like I drink coffee every morning. But I'm like, how can I, there's like a clear, it's like I try to look beyond rules, if that makes sense. So the church is really big on the word of wisdom. I agree with the word of wisdom, but at the same time, I don't agree with the word of wisdom because if I were to look at it as black and white, do not drink hot caffeinated beverages, coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I don't agree with that, but how do I agree with the word of wisdom? What I agree with the word of wisdom is the fact that, like, I try to look at it as, okay, when this commandment came out, it was more so about treating your body like a temple. Like, you have one body, you want to preserve it, you want to take the best care of it. And a big part of the word of wisdom is like avoiding things that can be easily addictive. And I feel like certain rules like that were kind of created as a blanket for everyone, just
Mm-hmm.
because things like alcohol, coffee, whatever, are very addictive. Not everyone has the ability to control themselves. And like I've worked with a lot of people that drink like 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee a day. I'm like, looks like you're addicted to it. Um, but it's at the same time, it's like you can't really change some things after a while because I know that if the church were to change, like, oh yeah, you guys can drink coffee now. I know I would have so many friends not in the church be like, oh man, your church just flip flops commandments like crazy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, so like I also see how the church is like a business organization in some concepts. Um, yeah, so there's just a lot of things that aren't, to your point, like if I were to look at it as just strictly black and white, I probably would have left the church a long time ago. But I'm like, this is the closest thing that makes sense to me about religion. So I'm gonna keep going because it's better than not going, you know?
Yeah.
At least like I said, I'm just like moving in the direction of the type of person I want to be. And religion, just like triathlon requires practice.
Mm. Yeah, really good point. And like also, so I'm Seventh Adventist Christian, and we have quote unquote a prophet. She is not passed, Ellen White, and she's often used kind of in line with the Bible constantly. And she has similar words about coffee. And I'll share this like short example just to kind of really bring home the point of what you're saying, because back in I want to say it was the late 1800s when like bicycles were first really becoming a thing. They were super expensive, probably to be compared to, I don't know, a car nowadays. Just with the amount of money they were a fashion item, kind of this kind of thing. And she made a statement that a lot of people took as for like a commandment, like don't get a bike. Well, it's like, well, nowadays you can get a very affordable bike and it enriches your life in so many different ways. So it's like a lot of not a lot, or I would say some of the rules or thoughts or opinions or, commandments, statements, whatever, I think they do really need to be adjusted through the lens of where we are in time, because things do change. People change. I mean, my goodness, if you read just for the Bible, for example, the Old Testament versus the New Testament and how God directly is involved with his people, the methods of discipline, the methods of communication, it changes. And I think that's because really, I don't know, I think it's similar in the Mormon church, maybe not, but there's this comparison made, or this analogy made, that like God's church is his bride. And so it's like all of us are like lumped into that one thing. Like we are the body of Christ, and then we are the bride for Jesus, or the Father. So there's like that kind of pairing and bringing together. But, in a similar fashion, it's like when that church was created, it was a child. And as the church has grown, and being anyone really, I think, who believes in God, as that continues to go along that path, the maturity comes where you're able to handle deeper concepts. You're able to deal with more complex problems. And so, like, yeah, I think it has to graduate. Not to say that you totally flip flop on things, but the principles are still true. Your body's the temple. Those kind of things that you're talking about. Your
Yep,
response.
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit it on the head.
So let me ask you this. How do you hear or feel God?
It's a good question. Um, I think I don't want to say that's like it's that good feeling you have in you because that can be your conscious, that can be whatever. I think it's a combination of all those things, just like certain joys that you have, your conscious being the Holy Spirit, kind of like helping, kind of like guide you, like, yeah, you're making good decisions, good not. Um, I don't know, just like being able to pray or recognize something, kind of have like it's not always about a give and take, but just kind of like just knowing that someone's hearing your true thoughts. Not like the best way I can explain is like sometimes I feel like I'm praying using words, but then like later on in the day, I'll be like have feelings about something else that was really on my mind. And it feels like, man, like God was listening to my heart and what I actually wanted to say rather than the words that we're saying.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I
Well,
think
because like
so.
I feel like
Because like
sometimes we use even like in a prayer, in a that's in our mind and our heart, whatever. We are still so easily influenced by the world around us that the words that we're saying aren't really what we're saying. But then when it comes back, it's like, oh man, like the fact that God heard that,
it's like
he
an
knew
understanding.
what I was trying, that understanding, that connection that you kind of feel. And that's
Hmm.
like what makes me feel like I'm saying prayers in a different way than just like saying the words to say the words.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like get your Hail in. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm gonna wrap this like in a here's a little bit of what I believe, and I would be curious to hear what if the Mormons believe in this, but we believe in this concept of the Trinity: God the Father in heaven, God the Son, Jesus, Holy Spirit is kind of like the
Yep.
intermediary. When what you're talking about would be my understanding. Like, yeah, when you pray, the Holy Spirit really has the ability to interpret or sometimes, get at the heart, because we're trying to express it. Feelings are confusing, especially for men. We try to express it, can't get it out right, and then he communicates that, and then you see something later. Oftentimes, what I've experienced, similar to what you're saying, is like I will pray something for something specific and have that feeling, but it often comes to me like in the form of like nature, sometimes little birds or like a little fox or whatever it is, and like just little affirmation type of things that I see in nature that really drive some of those points home. Um, yeah, the beauty in creation for sure. But do you guys believe in the Trinity?
Yep. Yeah. Well, so yeah, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. It's the same.
Yeah, cool. So another question on the topic of God: how is your relationship going right now with God?
I think it's going good. Um, the challenge I've been having lately is just the fact of like politics has just gotten very involved in like my really like people associate or like my relationship with God with like my religion and what they think my politics might be. I'm like, those are very separate things. I am very ignorant when it comes to politics. I don't sway either direction, but what I kind of like firmly believe is that I love the people around me and I just don't want to approach any of my relationships, no matter what political affiliation they have, with hate. If someone were to come after my friends, um, I would be the first to stand up for them. And I wouldn't be like, wait, what? Who'd you vote for? It's like, I would just stand up for you because I love you and I'm here for you, whatever that looks like. I'd be the first one to fight for them. Um, so that's kind of like a lot of people like, oh, you're Mormon. Like, I can't believe you voted for Trump. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, not once are we talking about like what?
Yeah.
That's been coming up a lot lately. Or the fact that like, oh, you're a white Mormon guy in Utah. Like, we get it, you voted for Trump. I'm like, what does that have to do with my character, or who I am? Like, I think the fact like I'm not gonna go out there and just be like, I hate everyone that voted for Trump or I hate everyone that voted for Biden. Like, I don't care who you voted for. I'm just not gonna approach people with hate based on what I think. I think that's like what's the problem right now. We're so segregated to people just like make assumptions and then just like some like we already like I get so many times like people find out from Utah, they're like, oh, you're Mormon. I'm like, what? Like, I just found out you're from Chicago. It's not like, oh, you're Catholic. Like, why does that have to come up in conversation? Or like again, oh, you're from Utah. You voted for Trump. I'm like, why are we like? What does that have? Does something about like the way that I'm acting like just make you want to talk about religion and politics right now? I feel like religion is one of those things
Yeah.
that's just like should be about your like. You shouldn't have to tell someone what religion you are. They should just know like, oh, he's a man with Christ. He's just a good person. And that's what how I try to approach it. I'm like, I don't want you to be Mormon. I just like if I can help make your day better, or if we can build a good relationship together, I'm like, I just want to be your friend. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to tell you vote for Biden or Trump. Just want to be your friend and ride bikes.
Yeah, no kidding. Have you ever lost a friend because of the beliefs that you've chosen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's actually funny. So, like I said, during college, I was inactive in the church, but kind of like after I graduated, I kind of had that wake up and then I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was around that time that I was like dating Chantel. I was like, and also finding triathlon. I was like, oh, this is like, I'm taking better care of my body. I'm running, I'm doing stuff. And my wife, I'm so obsessed with my wife. She's my dream girl, like through and through. I would have married her on day one. But when I was getting engaged, I asked my roommate and best friend if he wanted to be one of my groomsmen. And he was like, yeah. But then like a month later, he was like, hey man, I feel like you've changed a lot. since Chantel, like you stopped drinking, you stopped going to parties, you're doing triathlon, like stuff like that. I'm like, these seem like good things.
Mm.
Um, I don't think I changed. Well, I mean, I think stuff
You
that was
changed for the
in
better.
me initially just came out. It's like a new layer of
Mm.
my onion came out. Like I really pride myself that I don't like changing for like if my wife ever gave me an ultimatum, I'd be like, no. I'm really I like being true to myself. I think just a new part of me came out about the type of person that I want to become. But it was like, I feel like I can't support your marriage, and I don't know if I can be at your wedding or your groomsmen. I was like, when he said that, I was like, I thought
Dang.
I'd be hurt. I thought I'd be angry. I was like, no. I was like, that's fine, dude. Like, I appreciate like it takes balls to say something like that. I was like, I appreciate you saying that,
Mm.
but I like the person that I am. And yeah, lost the friends just because I started going to church more. I was being healthier and yeah, so that's haven't really thought about that in some time. It's like one of those things like looking
Mm.
back, I'm like, man, they really didn't think that this relationship would last, that I was probably just like chasing some tail. But here we are 9 years later.
Yeah.
I'm still as obsessed with her as I was on day one. And I'm still changing every day,
Mm.
just trying to become that better person, whatever that might look like in 10 years. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, that's what growth is, man. I feel like it is change, and that is tough. I mean, even though you said it didn't really bother you, I can't imagine like my closest friend in college. If he did that to me, I'd probably be pretty ripped out because we are so close and we see things so eye to eye. But yeah, with what you're saying with the lifestyle changes, like I guess I commend you, affirm you, and like that you were able to not be super upset with him because of what he did. Have you talked to him since?
We ran into like a mutual friend's wedding. Um,
Yeah.
I said hi, we're like just caught up, no
Yeah.
hard feelings. But I mean, I like looking back on it, I think there was a lot of people with that. I mean, I still like people see me and Chantel. She's that positive light that I need in my ADD world. She knows how to
Yeah.
um push me when I need to be pushed. She knows how to calm me when I need to be calm. She's also when I rationalize doing bad things, she's that uh conscious that I need to like, hey, let's not do that. Um she's taught me patience. She's taught me everything good in my life is because of her. And
Mm.
looking back on it, I'm like, I can see a lot of people like, man, you're this wild child. Like you changed for her. I was like, no, she's brought out the best in me that I think was there. And I
Mm.
just needed, like I said, it just comes back to like Heavenly Father being like, you're making some good choices in your life. You're going to have this girl that's way out of your league now. I was like, level
Yeah.
unlocked.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Do you do you feel when you met her, like did you know pretty soon, like right off the bat, like this is the woman for me?
Listen here, dude. If Taylor Swift responded to a single one of my DMs, she would have been number one. A close second with like girls out of my league was Chantel. Like the fact
Hmm.
that I got one of my top twos to actually give me a chance, I would have married her on the spot. She's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, especially like now, almost a decade later. I'm like, but the crazy thing is, she drives me nuts. She drives me insane. But I absolutely
Yeah.
love it because it makes my life so interesting. Like I was at the time that she came back in my life, I was dating this girl almost 3 years. Great, beautiful. But then like I had a shot with Chantel and it was kind of weird because like her name was Steph. We were at a wedding and then I just see like my friend walk down the aisle and just seeing the love that she was experiencing with her now husband. I was like, I don't think I have that with you. You're great. So I like literally broke up with her the following week, which is crazy because I was like, hey, we need to talk. She's like, can't wait. I'm like, you probably can. Um, but it was just like kind of that I'm like, "You're great. We would have had a very comfortable life together, great life." But I was like, "I'm not the type of person I am. I need someone with that same energy." Like, we butt heads
Fire.
so
Yeah.
much, but it's like when we love the shit out of each other, and I love it. But then when we fight sometimes. But, um, yeah, she's
Yeah.
the best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah. I can relate, man. I definitely can relate. My wife, yeah, we're both firstborns, both opinionated, strong-willed individuals, and over 8.5 years or whatever of marriage, it's definitely taught me a thing or two about being a little calmer. But yeah, still there's still fireworks, and I really like what you said. Like when you love the crap out of each other, um, in all aspects. I can definitely relate, and that's a beautiful thing to have. So talk to me kind of in closing for the last 10-15 minutes. Do you have to go somewhere? Were you about to say something?
No, I was gonna say, like, I think you interviewed Larry Upton, and one of the things he said is
Mm-hmm.
like, "I love that I love my wife, but I love that I like her." And I think, like,
Yeah.
I like the shit out of Chantel, and I love her like crazy, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's like when you can have your best friend
Mm-hmm.
be in your life every day, I think it's incomparable to anything else.
Yeah.
And, like, literally, I yesterday, I just woke up before the alarm, and I just, like, woke up and, like, looked at her. I was like, "You're still, even as this hot mess in the morning, like, the most beautiful thing in the world to me." And just, like, the fact that you can do life together, like, it's just so much more fun. Like, waking up every day, your best
Mm-hmm.
friend, I think Larry said it best, you just gotta like the person you're with.
Yeah. Beautiful. So for the last like 10-15 minutes or so, I want to transition a little bit to your kids because I know it's a huge piece of your life and we talked about it a little bit before. But on this topic of like God, I know that they are still relatively young, but they're growing up very fast. So as you like spiritual leader of the house, obviously you're making decisions and choices of how to
Real
influence
quick,
them, who to
I
influence.
just wanna
Yeah.
pause on that. That's like you said, I'm the spiritual
Yeah.
leader of the house, and that's, like, one of my biggest peeves with religion,
Mm.
especially the Mormon
You don't
religion.
like it. Okay.
I don't like
Yeah.
it because, like, Chantel's testimony makes my testimony better, and just because I'm, like, the man of the house, I'm like, I don't think that should be like, there are times where like, she called me today, she's like, "Hey, to get ready for the first day of school, can you give a blessing to the kids?" I'm like, "I would love to do that." But I'm like, I wish that we could both give a blessing to our kids because we are both as equally, like, involved in their spiritual development. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I'm the spiritual leader of the house. Um, but that's like the patriarchy is such a big thing in the church. And I'm like, sometimes I just want to be like, I'm like, I view Chantel and I equal in all aspects of life and even religion. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought that came to me as you were talking. Sorry for interrupting.
No, no, no. I like that you interrupted because I mean, I don't hold this similar view. I think I hold a similar view in that, like, I think that we are complete equals, and um, my my life can only be uplifted more and edified by hers, and vice versa. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm there. But let me ask you this question, like, and I think we believe in the same story, like creation story, and I'm probably gonna get canceled for saying this, but I think there's something to be said about God creating a man first. Am I
Uh-huh.
wrong, or do you think that that's incorrect?
I don't know. I kind of just like believe that because that's one of the first things they teach, right? But I'm trying to
Hmm.
think like, yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that.
The reason I ask that is because, like, I have too struggled with, like, well, quote unquote spiritual in the home. The Bible says in some instances, the woman is to submit to the wife, but it says right after that that the wife, or excuse me, the husband is supposed to give himself up for the wife and basically lay down his life for her. And I think what I have come to, where I currently stand, and my mind could be changed, but is that it's like with the way God created man, He created man first. Then he showed Adam the garden. Everybody else had their pair. Adam's like, hey, where's mine? And so that like created that gave God the opportunity then to really give Adam the experience of out of your side, your equal person is now I'm creating this for you to be your helper and whatnot. They're still equal, but I think that there's something to be said about like especially in society, even if you take religion away, like I have the greatest disservice I've seen in society is families that are absent of a father and who's willing to be a father and lead. Um, I don't know if there can be two leaders. I mean, there can be co-leading, but like there's something about like with God the Father being the tip of the spear. I don't know. Like there seems to be like that there is a top of the pyramid type of a situation, and I think it's a holy one. But at the same time, in a human light, it's very easy to be like, "Hey, I'm the
Yeah,
leader
yeah,
here. I'm gonna go do this, and you're gonna follow me." But that's like the wrong spirit of it completely. I don't know.
for sure.
Yeah,
And I think to your point, I don't think it's just like one end all be all. Like I'm going to be the leader of everything in our house.
yeah,
I think I do like what you said with the fact that I feel like Chantel and I, we both have different strengths and we take leads in our family in different ways. And I think that's how I try to approach it. It's like what my strengths are today, every day, whatever it may be. And some days where it's like, you know, why don't you lead this? And I think that's how I try to
mm,
approach it is just we lead at different times and we lead in different ways and different things.
yeah. So as you co-parent your children, the concepts like religious concepts, do you are you do you kind of, and I don't say this in a bad way, but do you kind of fly by the seat of your pants a little bit? And when you see an opportunity, you seize it to like kind of explain some kind of a cool thing? Or
Yep.
is it like a very intentional, like every night we sit down, we read this, or we pray and do this, or whatever? Like, what's your parenting style on that?
Uh, my parenting style is we try to do as much as we can. It's just so hard when they're young and their attention is so much
Yeah.
running wild in every direction. But I do like one of my favorite things is still like when Beckham prays. It's like he knows how to pray now. I'm like, you know, just the fact that you can do that just means a lot to me. Just the fact that you know how to ask for like not just like God, can I please have candy? But you're saying like we're at church the other day, and he's like, just he prayed and thanked God for just the fact that he made some new friends and that he wanted to help them. I'm like,
Mm,
that's cool. Like, I think it ties back to like, I want religion to be something that influences them just to be good people. Um,
yeah.
because I feel like I never want to force my kids into anything because I feel like that's going to be the easiest way for them to leave something.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Lead by
yeah.
action rather than words. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. I actually was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast last night as I was working on my car, and it was a wild podcast. But one of the most beautiful things that this guy said, I think it was Sam Tripoli, as he was talking to Joe, they were talking about just some of the horrific things that are done to children and trafficking and whatnot. But Sam made the statement. He's like, "Well, they do it to children because they are the closest to God." And I was like, "Man, that's so true." Because you hear like, even in the Bible, it kind of talks about suffer little children to come unto me, and having the heart of a child and whatever, because children, yeah, it's so simple to them, like, and I think because when we're that young we look to our parents and to the concept of God, and like we with just such a trust, because we have to, I guess, rely on them. We cannot provide for ourselves at such a young age, but we have just that unwavering faith in our parents that sadly sometimes is abused, and it can lead to really tough things. But that innocence of heart, like, it's such a cool thing to hear kids pray. It's always such a treat.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
Yep.
So in closing, my brother, I guess really more of a statement, but just thank you for being willing to dive deep on some of these concepts and be so open. And I really appreciate that you stopped me on like the spiritual leader thing, so we could have a little bit more of a I don't know, like a challenge in the conversation, to hear, conflicting
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings and ideas. And I think that's a beautiful thing to be able to do. So thank you so much for making that happen.
Oh, for sure. I just love exploring conversations with people about anything as long as it's not like driven and fueled by hate. Like, unless you're trying to, I just feel like nowadays we're just so like, we ask
Always
questions
upset.
for reasons to want to get angry, not to ask
Mm,
questions, just kind of learn more. Um, but other, like if someone asks me to go to church with them, I'll go to whatever church you want to go with. I'm like, I just think it's like I think one of the coolest experiences I had is last year I raced Boulder 70.3 and Tim Winslow, a good friend, brought me to his church. And I was like, heck yeah, I want to go. Like this is really cool. I just love like any opportunity that I can get to exercise my faith a unique way. I'm like, I'll yeah, I'll do it. Because like I try not to judge people based on their religion. I'm like, if they're a good person, that's all that matters to me. And if I
mm,
can help them on
beautiful.
their journey in any way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can, man. And hopefully this conversation will help spur some questions in people's hearts as well. So thanks for making it happen and wish you all the best as you finish out your workday here.
Thanks, man. I got to go get a swim in.
Thank you so much to Klodian for coming on and being vulnerable about talking about religion and life and the things that he fears, the things that he likes, the things he questions, the things that he loves. I really appreciate it, especially hearing him talk about his wife. If we could all talk about our significant others in that way, I think that the world would definitely be a better place. So make sure to love the crap out of somebody, love them to death, love them in the best way that you know how. Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.